Late Night Health continues. I'm Mark Alyn. We're taking a look at suicide this hour. In about 15 minutes from now, 10 minutes from now, we'll be talking with Robert Clancy about suicide from a spiritual standpoint, not a psychological standpoint. We have about 7 minutes, Dr. Michelle. Suicide is going up. It's increasing. It increases, as I just said during our break. When a celebrity dies by suicide, the rate seems to go up. I just heard that when Robin Williams died, the suicide rate increased by 25%. Why is that?
Well, again, I think we're talking about social media and influencers, and if Robin Williams can do that, or Anthony Bourdain or Kate Spade, who we all admired, and I guess it may be okay because I'm suffering too. And again, as I mentioned a little bit earlier in the show, a lot of suicide attempts are not so much to die as to stop living because of the pain. So maybe, perhaps, celebrities or people who we are familiar with, in social media every day will legitimize the possibility. And, of course, it does not. But there are so many other background things going on for people, whether they are depressed, they're psychotic, impulsive, crying out for help, they have a philosophical desire to pass away because they may have a terminal disease, or possibly they've made a mistake.
I know that you said something that was very interesting to me. People may not want to die. Mm-hmm. They just want to stop living.
Right.
They want a different life.
Right. And, somehow, and they may have convinced themselves that this is probably better. When people pass, they say, well, at least he or she is out of pain. And I think that's a comforting statement and realistic to a certain extent from those who are suffering, usually from a physical ailment, but from a psychological point of view, sometimes we don't really think of that. And I think a lot of people really, they can try to get resources out there in the community, and they can help themselves and others. We can really keep our eye on, our relatives, loved ones, or whatever.
But with somebody like Anthony, or even Kate, it was so out of the blue.
Yes, it was. But we didn't know what was going on. And I think that's what I said a little bit earlier, is that the presentation to the media is that they're successful and they're having a wonderful time, and
But we don't know what's going on in their mind.
Comedians, but he found out that he had, they say Parkinson's, but it was a Lewy body proteins in his brain, which would have caused him Parkinson's and Alzheimer's, and he was going downhill quickly. So that was his choice, because he couldn't deal with it, because that's not who Robin Williams was.
Right.
He was not that person. And we also, let me just mention this briefly, we also need to look at the background of our relatives. You briefly mentioned that as well.
And
it's really important to find out who has depression, anxiety disorders, possible bipolar going on, mom, dad, grandfather, grandmother, whoever, because those are highly inheritable disorders.
Are you aware of what the number one cause of suicide is? What the reason that the person who dies gives for the suicide?
The only information that I am aware of and that I have experienced in my work in psychiatric clinics is, without question, the most common reason is because they're so depressed. And, whatever that may be.
It could be financial, lost love.
Yeah, all goes together, and it depends on the individual's values, what they value most, important, or who they are, their identity. If their identity is financial and they've, completely lost their fortune, yes, that's certainly a motivating factor. I don't think, of course, it's the top, but I think, there are so many common issues associated with loneliness, not feeling supported, loss of love.
I've said on this show for years now that the number one problem in the United States is loneliness. I mean, you can even be a family member and have 4 people living with you.
Right.
And still feel lonely.
Exactly. And that's, why we encourage, I say psychologists, encourage people working on, their own intactness of support. Also spiritual connections or religious connections really help people, organize who they are in this world. And we, as psychologists, try to give them strength, and, some inner self-esteem in order to know that they can create things for themselves. They don't have to rely on others to decide who they will be or what they will be in their lives. Or it's about, it's an inner feeling about taking care of our own needs, and not to sound corny, but trying to like and or love that which we are.
Right. We're out of time. We'll have to do this again. We'll have Dr. Michelle back. Mark Brown asked to have Dr. Michelle on camera with me because she's a lot more attractive than I am. So I appreciate that, Mark Brown. Thank you. And also, Bill Frank is watching too. So, Bill, thank you. If you like, we're going to continue this for another 30 minutes. So join us here on Facebook Live. And then over this next weekend, we'll be on our radio network, as well as posted to latenighthealth.com, and we invite you to join us there. Dr. Michelle, your website is?
It's talkshowtherapist.com.
Talkshowtherapist.com. We're out of time. We'll be back in just a minute.